This episode of Enter the Flex Zone is brought to you by promo code STORM15. Use promo code STORM15 at flexzonesubs.com and get 15% off your purchase. It's that simple. Entering the Flex Zone today, I'll be interviewing a female that is as strong as they come. My guest is an exercise science major, personal trainer, and is involved in the strongwoman competition, where she pushes her body to the limits both mentally and physically. My guest has a love for donuts and naps, but when it's time to get down to business, she takes on every challenge head on with her faith in Jesus Christ. Catie Metcalf, you have entered the Flex Zone. How you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
I am great. You can tell I'm already pumped up about this episode of ETFZ. Why don't you tell all the listeners out there what you're all about and what your focus is right now in life?
So I'm currently in school still. I will not be graduating until May, so I've still got a little bit of time left. So I'm really just focusing on trying to graduate that one last semester, and I work at the rec center, KSU's campus, just focusing on all my clients, and I also teach group exercise. So right now, that's a lot of my focus, just working and trying to finish up this last semester.
Now, the Flex Zone fanatics, they might not know this, but your major is in exercise science. Did you always want to be an exercise science major?
No, I did not. When I first started college, I thought I was going to be a biology major and become a marine veterinarian. For like dolphins, that sort of thing. They're my favorite animal. So when I entered college, that was my plan. And my sophomore year, I decided that I did not want to do that anymore. It didn't make me happy. So I changed my major to business and started to do marketing. My father was a business major, and he told me that it's a good job. You can not be as stressed as you were when you're a biology major. You'll be fine. So I was like, okay, I'll try that. And I ended up hating it. And I remember having a conversation with my brother one afternoon, telling him that I wasn't enjoying this, and too far in, I couldn't change my major again. And he told me that I could. And so that day, I said, you know what, I think you're right. And I called my dad, told him that I was dropping all my business classes and that I was going to change my major to exercise science. I had really struggled with, what do I want to do? I love people. I love working out. And then it just hit me, why not combine those two things together? And well, now here I am.
A lot of people don't figure out what they want to do. Sometimes they don't figure it out until their 30s or 40s. So happens that you had to go through some hurdles and figure out what you exactly wanted to do. Did you take anything away from the business classes that you took, though? I'm sure you took something out of it.
Yeah, so I did learn a few things that eventually I'll be able to hopefully translate into one day when I want to own my own business. I didn't take too many classes, didn't get too far into it, but some of those entering business law classes have come back up in exercise science when you get into all of liabilities, with owning your own gym, with being a personal trainer, and dealing with people. So I did take some of those things away. And when I was a biology major, thankfully some of my classes translated for my exercise science. So it wasn't all a total loss.
It's the CYA in life, cover your ass. And those are very important things to learn starting a business or training individuals in the gym. When you were growing up, was there anything that you learned as a youth that's translated into your life today?
Honestly, I guess the biggest thing was I grew up in a fantastic Christian home. I have parents that absolutely love the Lord, and I just would not be here without them. They taught me everything that I know. I am the person that I am because I'm outgoing like my dad, but I am passionate and patient and caring about people like my mom. So just kind of how they raised me and how they taught me to be as just a person in general is really, I think, where the reason why I am the way that I am today. How they raised me to love the Lord, and that's what stuck with me. Being in college, being out of the house, not living with mom and dad anymore. We still have a great relationship. So I wouldn't say, there's one specific thing that my mom always said to me. Just as parents that love the Lord and taught me that has been the biggest thing that I've taken from when I was growing up.
You get out of the house and you're on your own, and the real world can be quite daunting at times. Did you ever have any struggles with your beliefs? You said you have a lot of faith in Jesus Christ and spirituality, but were there any times that you said, I don't know if I can believe anymore?
Absolutely. So I grew up in church, and my freshman year of college, I didn't go to church my freshman year. You're out of the house. You want to do things your own way and figure everything out for yourself. And there was about a year that I did my own thing, tried to figure out, who am I? What do I actually want? Is this who I am? And my freshman year of college wasn't too crazy, but it definitely taught me that I'm not this girl, not a partier. I am the girl that loves the Lord. And so I think about the end of my freshman year, beginning of my sophomore year, I found a church in Kennesaw that I just fell in love with, and I've been there since. I definitely went through a time where I had to figure out and make sure that, okay, this is who I am. And that took a little bit, but I think it definitely proved to me that, yeah, this is the girl that I am, and this is who I was raised to be, and this is me.
Was there any particular story that flipped the switch for you?
Well, the best stories have something to do with a relationship. There was a breakup that I went through. I was dating a guy my freshman year of college that I just made my world. And when we broke up, I just realized, oh my gosh, like I have nothing else. And that was kind of the switch that made me realize, when have I ever been the person to put stock in one particular thing in my life? And when that thing faded, what did I have to lean on? And that was my belief and my faith in the Lord. And I think that was the big determining moment for me that, all right, I got to get it back together.
Catie, you say you're a giving person. I can relate to that. I like to give. I rather give gifts out than receive them and make people happy.
Absolutely.
But sometimes people step on you, and sometimes people take advantage of you. And in relationships, I'm not the master guru of relationships, but I know that when you give something to somebody all the time, you got to have your own identity. Everything works out for a reason. They say it does. And this probably happened for a reason, just so you could get your identity back and just move on forward to bigger and better things. You showcase Ephesians 4:1 on your Instagram page, which states, "A prisoner for the Lord. Then I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling you have received." When did you receive the call?
I used to work for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and my boss at the time, we're still very close to this day, that was something that he always told us as a staff, and that he had told me in high school when I was playing basketball, was walk worthy. And that's where that comes from, is Ephesians 4:1. It's Paul talking to the church in Ephesus, telling them, walk worthy of what you're saying you are. You want to translate that to athletics. If you're a pro football player, you're going to walk around like you're a pro football player, not like you're a weekend warrior that plays every once in a while with his buddies. And I think after freshman year, when I realized, okay, this isn't who I want to be, I'm not this girl, I am the girl that loves the Lord. And especially in college when I was working with FCA, just realized that's the kind of person that I want to be. I want to be the person that walks the way that she feels that she's been called to walk. So as a believer, as a Christian, as someone that loves the Lord, walking in a way that says that, loving people when they're unlovable, or whatever that may look like in your life. So I wouldn't say that it was like, oh, this day, this time, but it's something that as a Christian is placed on your life. As a believer, you get to do. So for me, it's been recently that I really feel like I've taken that in and tried to walk the walk, if you will. But I just believe that that's a calling that you receive when you become a believer.
It wasn't Ric Flair like saying, if you want to be the woman, you got to beat the woman.
Yeah.
Woo! 1 Thessalonians 5:5. It also states that you are all children of the light and children of the day. We do not belong to the night or to the darkness. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So children of the light and children of the day, we don't belong to the night or to the darkness. We believe that Jesus Christ is like the sun, and I personally like to think of it as S-U-N, the literal sun, and not S-O-N. And as a believer, we're children of the Lord, and if He is the sun, then we are light. Believers are called to be set apart, and that means to be different than the world around you, different than sin and what some people may call the darkness. So just being set apart and being different than the world around us, being a light in the darkness.
And Catie, right now, especially in social media, it seems like there is abundance of darkness surrounding a lot of the events that have been taking place. And it's great to find people like you and a lot of the other people I've interviewed here on ETFZ that have that positive, never say die attitude. And with your faith in Christ, that's something other people that are listening out there might have to look into. If your life isn't the way you want it, maybe you need to find something, maybe find spirituality or do something in that regards. And it looks like you found the strongwoman competition. What opened your eyes to this type of competition?
When I was a little girl, my dad and I used to watch World's Strongest Man that came on ESPN.
Yeah, I love that show.
And yeah, I remember every year we would watch it, and I would get so excited to watch them load the Atlas stones. That was my favorite event for me as a little girl to watch. And I just thought, this isn't a real thing. People don't actually do this. It's just particular people in the world that get to do it. I have a friend of mine that competes in strongman, and he actually introduced it to me about a year and a half ago. And I had gallbladder surgery and had taken some time off from the gym. And when I came back, I just didn't love the gym like I had. And I was just really confused and upset, and talked to my boss, talked to some friends, and was just trying to figure out what is wrong with me. Feeling, oh my gosh, I'm not in love with the thing that I'm basing my career off of. And when he introduced me to strongman, and I realized, oh my gosh, I can do this. It's not just this thing that I see on TV anymore. I just fell in love with it, and it was a challenge. It was fun. Everything that you have goes into one moment, and I love that. That's what I love about working out, is that in that moment, that's all you can think about. You can't think about anything else that's going on, whether that be good or bad. You have the task at hand, and you have to annihilate it. You've got to finish it. You've got to do it.
It's you against that obstacle. You have to execute whatever you got in front of you better than the other person's doing it, because it is a competition. You don't think about the other competitors when you're in that area or whatever phase of trials you have to go through, right?
Exactly.
Now, what's your favorite event?
The thing I like about strongman is that every event is so hard, and I hate some of them, but they're all fun to me. There's girls that I train with, and they're like, oh, I hate this, and man, I hate it too, but when I'm doing it, I love it. But I think my favorite event that I have actually done in competition would be an Atlas Stone series. So the big cement balls that you see, I struggle with them. They are so hard for me, but I really enjoy them.
Where the hell do you go practice?
I've got a gym that I go to. It's called Growlers. The owner is Todd Growlers. It's in Canton.
Canton, Georgia.
Yeah, Canton, Georgia. Todd had that place for a while, and that's where I train at. He actually just put on his first competition last weekend that I competed in, and it was an awesome competition, but it's called Growlers Gym.
Yeah, you talk about the competitions, and we talked about this last week when I tried to get you on the show. You said after the competition's over, you're like exhausted. And hey, I understand. It's got to be grueling mentally and physically. What do you have to do to recover the next day after competition?
Competition day, it's funny because competition is all day long. Saturday, we were there from 9 o'clock to 3. And there's 5 events, but each event, you're only competing for 1 minute. So if you really think about it, you're only competing for 5 minutes out of that entire day.
A lot of waiting.
Those 5 minutes are all out, 200%, all you've got. So afterwards, you're dead. Mentally, you're exhausted. Physically, you're exhausted. I got home. I eat first. That's number one priority. Take an ice bath, and then I'm in my bed the rest of the day with ice packs and just chilling. I don't do a whole lot after. It just takes a minute for your body to recover, your brain to recover, your nervous system.
Your mind. Now, what do you do in between events while you're waiting?
Depending upon how many competitors you have there, that's going to change how long you're waiting. This most recent competition, I would say there was probably 45 minutes to an hour between each event, maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter, depending on what was going on. Between the events, I'm stretching out. My parents come, a couple of my friends came, catching up with them, saying hi, talking to some of my friends that I actually trained with, scoping out the competition, thinking about what's coming up next, what place am I in, what am I going to have to do to either maintain my position or move up. So a lot of different things go into that waiting time. I try not to psych myself out, though.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. I tend to get in my head a little bit, so trying to keep myself busy so that I don't get inside my own head.
Talking about that with mental preparation, try not to get inside your head. What activities or what are you doing to avoid having the voices in your head set off?
Saturday when we got there, talk to everybody to see how everyone's doing, talk to other ladies that I trained with. Be a little social for a while, but when it's getting closer to competition, I usually put my headphones in and go stretch and just kind of take some quiet time to breathe and think about what I am going to have to do that day, but also just telling myself, yes, it's a competition, but For me, Saturday, I just want to be better than I was last competition. If I win, that's fantastic. If I don't, that's fine too. Then I'm just here to compete against myself. So that was really my focus for that last weekend. Mentally was reminding myself, okay, this is for you. This isn't for anybody else, just for yourself.
I think that can translate into life as well.
Absolutely.
I see so many people worrying about other people doing the same thing they're doing instead of just focusing on the task at hand. And I think that's some great advice you're giving the Flex Zone fanatics out there. What's going on, Flex Zone fanatics? Brad Storm here to tell you that Flex Zone Pre-Flex really does work. Let's face the facts. The older I get, the harder it is for me to find that extra jolt of energy. It doesn't matter if I'm working out, chasing my 3-year-old around the house, or editing the next episode of Enter the Flex Zone. I just need to stay focused. I've been taking Blue Raz Pre-Flex for around a month now, and I can say to you, the listeners, that I've kicked my energy drink habit that I've had for 15 plus years, and I'm saving $30 a week in the process. Now I'm feeling energized without the anxious feeling I had all the time drinking energy drinks. If you're ready for something different that's made right here in the USA, use code STORM15 at flexzonesubs.com and get 15% off your purchase. It's that simple. Flex Zone supplements and Enter the Flex Zone are where it's at.
This is Jason Ellis, CEO of Relentless Sports Management, and I have entered the Flex Zone.
You talk about relationships you've built throughout the competition. Any relationship in particular stick out in your mind?
So I have a fantastic relationship with the owner of Growlers, Todd. He has just been so fantastic as I've gotten into strongman, so encouraging. He's been great to just help me with training, and he's just been so encouraging and so uplifting in every aspect of it, whether I'm training that night and having a rough night. Okay, Catie, you've got to do this. And he knows when I need to be yelled at. He knows when I need to be hugged because I'm frustrated with myself. But also I train with a girl. Her name is Jay. She's awesome. She has taught me so much. When I first went to Growlers, it's Strongman Saturday at Growlers, and it's all these huge men, strong men, and then there's me, But Jay was the other female there that really just took me under her wing and showed me the ropes and is so easy to talk to. We've become good friends. So she really sticks out in my mind when I think about strongman. She's just been such a help, especially this last competition. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to compete. She got a back injury. The day of competition, she was holding my inhaler for me and reminding me, okay, you need to go ahead and get changed. Don't forget to stretch out. She's just been awesome through it.
You talk about back injuries, and they could be a pretty devastating injury when you're trying to do something like the strongwoman competition. Any injuries that you sustained that you had to overcome?
Not yet. I'm hoping to keep it that way. Here and there, your back hurts, and you got to go see the chiropractor and got to go get a massage, but nothing long term. So that's been good for me.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, you get bruised up and bumped up and scratched up, and you walk away. I always said, if you don't walk away from a training session without a couple bumps and bruises, did you actually really train?
When did the strong women competition begin? I know because we talked about the guys back on ESPN and all that. That was back, in the 90s, early 90s, I think, or late 80s. When did it begin for the females?
It's become much more common recently in the past few years. There are still so many competitions that happen and they don't have women's weight classes just because it's still an emerging sport. Todd has really done a great job at, when he promoted his competition, not just promoting it as a strong man competition, but promoting it as a strong man and woman competition. He's got so many daughters, and he really has a love for this sport and wants to see it grow and be more open to women and get women more involved because it's still emerging for females to be competing in strongman.
Catie, do you speak or do you spread the word on the strong woman competition? What do you do as far as your duty to the competition?
Not a whole lot. Honestly, just showing up. There's some females that come and train with us, getting ready for the competition that may not be there consistently, just working out there at Growlers. They just come because that's the only strongman gym around. So we have women come in that are just training there, just trying to be there. You can help them out if they need anything. I'm still a newbie in all this. I've only been doing it for about a year. But I think it's easy for people that have been doing this for so long to just come up to someone who's new and say, oh, just do it this way. But someone who's still new has kind of had to figure it out a little bit more recently than that person who's been doing it for much longer.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think I have a different perspective on how to maybe load a stone or how you're supposed to do a log press rather than someone who's been doing it for 10 years just saying, oh, well, you're just supposed to, do this. It's like helping to break it down. So I would say maybe less on the promoting side, but more on what can I do to help the people that are at Growlers or have just started strongman or strongwoman. Like I said, haven't been doing a whole long time myself, but kind of have a little different perspective because I'm still in that learning process.
I know there's probably plenty of females that want to be involved in the Strong Women competition. How do they go about getting involved? How do they sign up for the competitions? What information can you relay?
So anybody that wants to be involved, the biggest thing is going to be finding a space for you to be able to train. Not many gyms in Anytime Fitness or in LA Fitness, and they don't have the implements that you need to train with. Being just as strong as you can is a really great place to start. But in order to really train for those competitions, you've got to be able to train with the implement. So being able to train with a stone, with a keg, with a log, whatever that competition may be holding is really important. So finding a gym that you can train those events, that is going to be your number one priority, in my opinion. I would say it's very difficult. Some people do it, but it can be very difficult to go up to a competition where you've never touched the implements before, learning on the fly. I would be way too nervous to do that myself. But once you find a gym, get involved there, signing up for a competition is just signing up, paying your dues for whatever organization it is. So if it's through NASP or USS, you have to pay a membership fee for a year. And then you pay for the actual competition. And then it's all downhill from there. It's training, preparation, and show it up on time for rules.
Do you know of any other gyms outside of Georgia that do this type of training?
Yeah, there's a couple gyms. We had a couple guys, I believe they're from Iowa, come up. I think it's called the Anvil Gym, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. There's a gym in Iowa that's a strongman, and I believe there's another one. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but there is another strongman gym in Georgia. I think it's in Carrollton. Another guy that goes to KSU trains out there, but they're few and far between. There's some in South Georgia around Macon. There's a couple different ones, but they're definitely not as common as your LA Fitness or your Anytime Fitness.
The Flex Zone fanatics might not know this, but you're also a personal trainer as well. What has been some of the hurdles that you had to overcome with being a personal trainer? Any challenging aspects as far as maybe having a certain individual that you had to really work hard with?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think personal trainers joke here and there about just getting your clients to believe in what you're doing. I've got great clients right now that love training, but I've had clients in the past that are difficult. Even though you're getting paid and even though investing time, you have those clients that maybe don't believe enough in themselves or even maybe don't believe enough in you.
But they're paying you to do it. They don't believe in you.
I know. It's a hard line to walk because as a trainer, you want to do everything that you can for your client and you want to see them reach their goals, but I'm not a babysitter. I'm not someone that can be with you 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, making sure that you're eating what you should be eating.
Getting the
and
fork
making
out of
sure
their
that
hand.
you're exactly.
Yeah.
So my biggest struggle is when I do have those clients that only want to exercise when they see me. It's about what you're doing outside of the gym. And if they're not doing that, them coming back and saying, well, I haven't met my goal. Why not? Dealing with that in such a way that it's like, okay, this isn't me. This is the client. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't always make them drink.
Yeah. You're not reaching your goals because you keep pounding pizzas and ice cream, okay? Let's get on the treadmill. Let's go.
Exactly.
What do you do in your free time?
I go to the gym. I meal prep. I cook. Try to spend some time with my friends, my family, and my boyfriend. And other than that, not a whole lot. This semester has been a whirlwind of not having any free time.
Yeah.
I work Monday through Wednesday and study on the weekends, go to the gym 3 days a week for a couple hours, every time. So not a whole lot of free time. When I do, I try to spend it as wisely as I can, doing, just enough to get by and get through this semester.
So 2018 just started. And what do you see for yourself as far as the rest of the year?
I'm not a big resolutionary person. Not that I don't believe in setting a New Year's resolution. Personally, it doesn't work for me. But one thing that I did tell myself this year was I do want to compete as much as I can. And so really my goal this year is just to get as many competitions as I physically can under my belt. So I've just competed last weekend, maybe looking at doing another competition in March, maybe another one in May, in August, and October. So as much as I can allow physically, I'm going to try to compete.
Well, here, we're wrapping up the show, and I got the stormy weather question of the show. It's brought to you by promo code STORM15. Save 15% on your purchase at flexzonesubs.com. Some people are down on their luck, they're depressed, and have lost all hope. What would you tell these individuals?
I would tell these individuals that whatever you're going through, someone else has been there, right, and someone else might have it worse than you. I know that when I'm going through something like that, I seem to always be happier when I'm giving myself away and when I'm helping others. Usually when you're going through something, either someone else has been in your shoes or has been right beside you and can help you get through that. But it's reaching out and finding those people, and also reaching out what you can do for others when you're in a bad situation, because you're not the only one there. You're not the only one who has lost a loved one or has lost their job. So I would just encourage people that wherever you're at, whatever you've lost, whatever you don't have, that someone else around you is going through the same thing. So what can you do to help that person that's also struggling?
Well, Catie, that's some great advice. I appreciate you having some time to spend with me on Enter the Flex Zone. You got any shout-outs before I let you go?
Well, I just really want to say thanks to my parents. I know that's cheesy, but I would not be here without them through college, through all of this. They've just stood their ground, and they have been my rock. Todd Gronick has been the man to help me through all this strongwoman stuff, opening up his gym and just being such a great coach. A ton of people, but those two people have really been vital to me as a person, but especially in my strongman career that's just starting. Todd's been pretty vital. So thanks to those guys and to everybody else that's unnamed, but they know that I love them.
All right, everybody, that concludes another great episode of Enter the Flex Zone. If you want to follow Catie Metcalf on social media, you can do so at Catie_MET21 on Twitter, and it is the same thing on Instagram. And everyone, don't forget, use promo code STORM15 at flexzonesubs.com, and you get 15% off your purchase. Let me ask you a question, guys. What makes your adrenaline pump? What gets that heart racing? It gets you so revved up that you feel like you can take on the world. If you don't have any answers to these questions, well, you probably need to search deep within your soul to find some answers. Pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and accomplishing things you thought were never attainable is what makes life the great ride that it is. If there are no tests, then life becomes bland. Hell, I even joined a bowling league so I can get those competitive juices back. And of course, Enter the Flex Zone keeps me going with challenges every week to put out the best show for you listeners out there. Now, Catie Metcalf, with her love for the Lord, discovered her competitive fire through the strongwoman competition, and in my opinion, is a role model for females and for people in general that are looking for something more. Is it time to push yourself to the edge, or will every day be like Groundhog Day, repeating itself over and over again? If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Brad Storm Lanou. On Twitter, it's Brad Storm VO, and on YouTube, Brad Lanou. Go follow my business at Voices of the Storm Recording on Facebook. And Flex Zone listeners, we're on every platform known to man now. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, iTunes. We're on YouTube, Stitcher. We're everywhere. So if you have an Android phone, you can listen to us. And if you have an iPhone, you can listen to us as well. I want you to go to some of these platforms and leave us a review. On iTunes, the more reviews you leave us, the higher in the ranks we go. And this allows us to have the best guests we can have on each and every week on ETFZ. And speaking of reviews, let's go to Cast Junkie. I like how this podcast walks you through so many different people's lives. It just offers great insight on how people have made it through various situations and their advice on how you can do it too. It's very inspiring to listen to. Great review, Cast Junkie. I appreciate the love. The more love we get, guys, the easier the climb will be. All right, Flex Zone fanatics, remember to clench the fist and punch every day in the face. And I'll see you the next time we enter The Flex Zone,